Yo, what's good guys? Hope you're all doing well. I've pretty much exclusively been playing the new air superiority mode in Battlefield 2042. Yeah, it's not quite BF4 with the skill required, but I am still having a blast. One thing I've noticed though is the amount of people who, well, to put it kindly, are quite challenged by the task of aiming the helicopters in this game. And to be fair, it's very different from infantry, but it actually doesn't have to be. Before I show you guys exactly what I'm talking about, we have a message from today's sponsor. Raid Shadow Legends is the first game to bring a true console experience to your phone. With hundreds of artifacts and champions, each with unique skills, you can build your team to raid your way. My favorite thing about Raid is how easy it is to get into and progress. I actually played the game for one of my Twitch streams and managed to get a fair amount of progress done in only a few hours. When I got stuck with one part of the game, there was always a different route and everything was super easy to understand. Another cool thing is that it's not just a mobile game as many think. You can also play it on the PC, and that's actually what I did. The experience on mobile and PC is very comparable, and regardless of platform, you can have a really good time. This month, there's a ton of stuff happening in Raid. They're bringing out 5 new champions that I can't wait to try, and they're overhauling the champion vault. There's also a bunch of smaller updates coming too. On top of all of that, Raid's running a huge series of summer splash events for the whole month, where you can get your hands on some epic skins for everyone's favorite dwarf, Trunder. Oh, and one more thing. Make sure you get into the game now if you want to be a part of this. This is actually the best time to get started in Raid, and if you click the link in the description or scan my QR code, you'll get some unique bonuses worth $30. We're talking an epic champion Ayana, 200k silver, 1 energy refill, 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you're in game. All this stuff will be waiting for you right here. So as I was saying, heli aim doesn't actually have to be very far from infantry aim, and especially in Battlefield 2042, it feels very similar when you have the controls set up right. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how I set up my controls and use something called rifle aim to give me better precision in the helicopters. So starting out of the game, there's a few things you can do on your PC to help. First, you want to go to the mouse settings and make sure this is disabled, enhanced pointer precision, that's basically mouse excel. Also, I'd recommend setting the sensitivity to 6 out of 11 as I've done here. The 6 out of 11, that's a default setting, but enhanced pointer precision is also on by default, so if you haven't actually changed anything, all you have to do is just uncheck that box. Now after you've done that, you can also change your DPI settings within Windows, and for me 1600 DPI is the best. You'll have a slightly lower input lag with slow tracking, which happens to be a lot of the heli tracking in this game. There's also no pixel skipping, and for me it's hard to justify anything lower, especially having 2 monitors. In my opinion, 1600 to 3200 DPI is definitely the sweet spot, and 800 is also fine, but it's not quite as good. Now, if you are using 400 DPI, definitely consider changing it. It's kind of ancient at this point, and I think people only really do it because their favorite players or whatever used to run 400 DPI, or that's how it used to be back in the day. But these days, there really isn't any reason to use it. It actually gives you a little bit of a disadvantage. Now moving along to the in-game settings, there's just a few things you have to do. So we're going to start by going to the mouse and keyboard tab up here. Now we're talking about vehicles in this video. I will do a full-on settings guide for graphics and all that kind of stuff later. But real quick, just in case you want to see it, there's my on-foot ones. Now I run 8%. And these are the kind of sensitivities I use. Definitely want to have max FOV, as you can see up there. And the helicopter control sensitivity just came default at 70. That felt the best to me. And I haven't noticed any benefit of going much higher than that. And I run 0% coefficient with uniform vehicle aiming on. Now once you've done that, go into key bindings and head over to the helicopter tab. Over there. And once you're here, you can rebind the exit vehicle if you press it accidentally, or change your vehicle seat kind of things, or your chase camera binds. But this is where it really goes down, the movement bindings. So I've unbound your right and your left, and roll right and roll left, and basically just swap them around. So that's what rifle aim is. You want to bind your to your mouse left and right, and your roll to D and A. That is the way you get a much more precise rudder movement. I'd also recommend using pitch up as mouse up and pitch down as mouse down. That'll just make it feel a lot more like infantry. Now you also want to unbind fire from space in case you want to use it as pull up, which is what I do. And the rest of this is all pretty standard. So once you've done all that, you can head out of the game and give it a go. So once you've done all this, don't expect instant results. In fact, when I first transferred to rifle aim in BF4, I could barely even fly the heli. It took about a week to feel natural, but since it's a bit easier on 2042, I think you guys could learn it a lot faster. There's also the fact that I had a lot of hours flying the helis in BF4 using the default settings. So I basically 180'd everything I knew, and my muscle memory that I had built up for so many years was actually really playing against me. If you aren't quite as experienced, it's actually probably going to be a lot easier to learn, especially in this game. What you will notice though is that aiming feels the exact same as infantry now. Where you move your mouse is where the crosshair goes. It's not quite as snappy, but that's how the game is designed. But it is a lot more precise, especially in those rudder movements. So where you'll notice the biggest gains are definitely going to be like air combat, precise infantry aiming such as the miniguns or anything longer range really, and then the tow missiles. All these tasks require really precise rudder control, and that's something you just really can't get with the A and D keys, especially in this game. Back in BF4 you could just tap the keys once or twice to get your aim on, so you could become very accurate using the default settings. But Battlefield 2042 made it very hard to get this accurate, and you pretty much had to compensate by using a lot of roll. That's where rifle aim comes in though. It makes you a lot more accurate using those rudders, and it just gives you a higher skill ceiling to grow into. The amount of skill that you can actually have by using a mouse input compared to just pressing one of two keys is a lot higher, so you have a lot more room to grow with this control scheme. Now, I definitely wouldn't recommend using these settings for jets. I just wouldn't recommend the jets regardless, to be honest. But for jets, having rudders bound to a key is really good because it actually activates the rudder 100% all the time, which is really key for winning dogfights. And while we're on the topic of jets, no, this is not really going to mess with your jet muscle memory if you want to run default settings on jets, which is what I use. Basically, I run inverted flight and default with the jets, and then I use rifle aim with non-inverted flight on the helis. So literally two opposite control schemes, and it's never really given me any issues. For some reason, my brain just differentiates it, and I don't really have any issues getting confused between control schemes at all. For helicopters though, you want really slight rudder movements, not 100% all the time, so I can't really think of any disadvantages once you master this control scheme. Anyways, do give it a go and use the air superiority mode to practice it. That's actually why I've made this video right now. You have a really great mode that can allow you to learn the control scheme very quickly, so definitely take advantage of that. Hopefully this helps you guys as much as it helped me, and I'll see you out there. Peace.